Hello, everyone, and welcome to Compassionate Chingonas Speak. My name is Cynthia, and I'm joined by my sisters, Lorraine and Jennie, that you'll hear from in a minute. So today I picked the topic, and I picked the power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness. Because I honestly believe when you forgive, you get a sense of freedom. Now, what is forgiveness? Is the first question. Well, forgiveness is the act of releasing emotions around somebody that you believe did you wrong. But I also believe that there's two types of forgiveness, forgiving others and forgiving yourself. And my sister Jennie is going to talk more about self-forgiveness. But the reason why forgiveness is so important is because you have these emotions, and it's usually resentment or anger or hurt, which hurt usually turns into anger. You're hanging on to these emotions for something that happened usually a long time ago, and it's harming you because it's not harming the other person, because the other person probably hasn't even thought about that situation. So I know that when we're talking about forgiveness, forgiveness can be something simple. You know, you forgive your husband because he didn't put the toilet seat down. But then you have a spectrum of things that need to be forgiven, where in my particular case, I was sexually traumatized as a young woman. And so I had to forgive that person for bringing the trauma onto me. But it's interesting, I did that very early on because I was hanging on to all this ugliness. But it wasn't until I forgave myself that I was actually able to feel better. And so for me, the way I like to forgive people is I don't even tell them. You know, I sit down, I read a letter out, just like all the other release work I do. I write a letter out and then I burn it. So it's like releasing those emotions. And once you forgive, and let me say, there's a difference between forgiving and forgetting. Just because you forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that you forget about the situation. It just takes away their power. And then when you forgive yourself, it actually gives you a sense of relief because then you can let go of the shame, guilt, all those emotions that you've been hanging on to. So forgiveness is powerful. And if you're hanging on to stuff, let it go. Just let it go. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my sister, Jennie, Sister Weeping Willow. Jennie, what do you think about forgiveness?
Well, first of all, thank you, Cynthia. And thank you, Lorraine, for the three of us being here. What I think about forgiveness, it took me a very long time to forgive myself, and it's nobody's business but my own, whatever I forgave myself for. Um, to even think that I needed to forgive myself. I just kept carrying around a sadness, and it was always there. It was in the back, but I knew it was always there. And when I wanted to make myself feel bad, I, drag my old friend back. Come on over. Let me feel bad about myself, or let me feel bad about that situation. And I realized that I'm the only one that was feeling bad. And, I didn't want to turn that ugly feeling on every time I wanted to feel bad. I wanted to be released from it. It was something that happened, and it happened. And history cannot be changed. It can only be you can do something about history, but you can't change what happened before. So I realized that I needed to live my life free of what I was beating myself about for a very long time. And it was a sad. And when I wanted to feel real bad, I'd say, hey, come on, sit next to me and let's feel bad. But I thought, hey, why can't I just have something next to me that feels better? And I realized that I needed to forgive myself. And I did. And that was such a big accomplishment because once I forgave myself, I could forgive all the other bullshit that came to my life because it couldn't have been as important as how I was feeling about myself. So once you forgive yourself of whatever it is that you're holding, it it allows you to feel that darkness with joy. And even if you don't feel it with joy, just don't feel it with darkness. Why carry around a bunch of old valises, suitcases? The only time I want to carry around a suitcase is when I have a passport. Other than that, I don't need around a damn suitcase. I know what I did and I know what I didn't do. And I also know that I have forgiven myself. So the next time you see me with a suitcase, you'll see me with a passport in my hand too. So on that one, I'm going to send it over to Lorraine. Boom, Lorraine, there you go, Mija. You got it.
Yeah, I agree. Both of you ladies have um, opening this topic of forgiveness. It's not easy. It's certainly not an easy thing to do, and we're not taught how to forgive others
Oh,
or
shit.
ourselves. It's just something that isn't taught. Um, I when we were promoting our book, the Yo También, I made a video on forgiveness, and I'll post it. It's on my website, and I watched it today, and I was surprised. It was pretty in depth
It was
about
pretty good.
about forgiveness. But what I said in that video is that there's two parts to the word forgive. There's for and give. And so to give, what are we giving? We're giving a gift of letting go. And that gift is when we forgive, we open this space of possibility. We open up room, because as long as we're not forgiving, there's this knot or this stagnation of energy that remains around us. Like Jenny said, it's luggage, and sometimes that energy can actually attach to parts of our body and make us ill. And so my advice is to practice forgiving the little things until you get good at it. And like Jenny said, when I practiced on myself, it was easier to forgive the other stuff. And even if, if we, it's sometimes easier to forgive strangers. Like say you're in a market and somebody cuts you off, and it's a stranger, go home and practice forgiving that stranger, just so you get a sense of what it feels like, and getting a sense of that empty space once you let go. Because once you let go of that you create an emptiness, and that emptiness is the gift. That emptiness is that thing you feel of your own, the possibility of living your life to the fullest. But as long as we don't practice forgiving, it's going to be a clog. It's just going to get in the way, and it's just it's forgiveness is a verb. It's an action word, so you got to do it.
So do we need like a probiotic forgiveness drug?
Probably yeah, Roto-Rooter or something.
A lavativa.
Yeah, that helps.
And I want people to know that forgiveness for many people is a lifelong journey. I mean,
Exactly.
I've done a lot of forgiveness over my life, but the most powerful was only within the last couple of years, where I forgave my mom. Now, she wasn't asking for forgiveness, but I had all this stuff because of the way she had treated me my whole life. And so once I forgave her, I felt free. So, it's not where you just forgive a person, or we have life experiences all the time that we need to forgive others and forgive ourselves. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
The whole point is forgiveness sets you free. And don't we all want to be free, ladies? Don't we?
Yahoo!
Free because we want to live our best life ever. And so
Yes.
there you have it, the power of forgiveness by us Chingonas. And
Yeah.
next week, we are actually going to be talking to the young people and giving you some opinions and some advice. So thank you so much for joining us again. We'll see you next week. And bye.
Adios.
Forgive. Just
Wow.
do it.